All right, Mr. Chairman, were those alligators, do they glow in the dark? Is this?
I've not gotten close enough to find out.
All right. Let me just say thank you. I'm sorry I was late. When you're here, you got 3 or 4 different things to do, and I've really appreciated the testimony I've heard so far, and I will be reading your submitted testimony in the meantime. Are any of you advocating building new light water reactors? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. We have a light water reactor in my area, San Onofre, and they are now storing the rods that are left over, this nuclear waste, at a cost of $70 million a year, and no electricity is being produced for hundreds of years. Are you sure that it's worthwhile building light water reactors?
Thank you very much. First, I want to say that the new class of advanced reactors coming down the pike include both light water and non-light water. These designs in non-light water are, frankly, I think, in my view, very exciting. They include these passive safe, some would call walkaway safe designs.
Right.
And certainly, ultimately, beyond that, the class of reactors, non-light water, they're in a position to consume and reduce the amount of waste ultimately. But we certainly support also the full life of these reactors. I just got back from Pennsylvania at the State House, where they have 3 reactors in Pennsylvania that is slated to shut down early. If they shut down early, they would wipe out all of the wind and solar contribution in the PJM market in all 13 states where PJM is in one fell swoop, because you will lose that much emissions-free generation.
Right. And how much of a danger do you think would be put upon the people of the area if they had a Fukushima-type incident because I imagine the Fukushima alternative was sold to the Japanese. If this can never, nothing can ever go wrong, and then we end up with a catastrophe in Japan. And that's, again, we've sold them on the light water reactor.
I have great faith in the NRC. They have realized a lot of lessons learned from Fukushima and put them into the light water reactor plants that are being operated today. But ultimately, I also believe it is absolutely necessary. We need to find a pathway to take the spent fuel that is on these sites and put them in a disposal in a repository and stop kicking the can.
Yeah, is it possible that the leftover waste, has already been mentioned by Dr. Bowers, that some of that waste is actually going to be used as fuel for the next generation of nuclear power that would not be light water?
I will comment that there are advanced reactor concepts and designs that have been put forward that do take reprocessed fuel or spent fuel and can use that as fuel for their reactors. I will comment that that is not the design that we are moving forward with, but I know that Ed is very familiar with
I think that we should, when you consider that we're saying that in my area, in the middle of a residential area, that we're going to be storing nuclear power rods for 1,000 years is unacceptable to anybody. And who knows what type of dangers will come up. Who knows if we'll have a California earthquake that causes, they were putting hundreds of thousands of people's lives, maybe millions of people's lives at stake with that type of reasoning. And I would hope that we would proceed, and say, light water reactors had their day. What can we do now to improve nuclear energy and its ability to provide for the needs of the people of the country? Mr. Bowers, your mention on the high-temperature gas-cooled reactors, I think that there are a number of those alternatives that seem to be, to me, make more sense, that you're going to have far less waste and waste that perhaps they can be used We can use up the waste from the reactors before. Let me ask you this. Is any of this based on fusion energy? No, okay. Well, how much money are we spending on fusion energy? We've spent billions of dollars developing fusion energy. Again, I believe that's a total waste. And the fact is, we should use that money that we're spending on developing fusion, and let's spend it on some of the ideas that you have for the next generation of fission that we know that we are capable of achieving. They say fusion energy is the fuel of the future, and it always will be. Well, the fact is, we need something that we're going to invest in that actually is foreseeable that we're going to be able to achieve, and not a dream. And so, number one, I will read your report. I'm anxious. I think nuclear energy has a vital role to play. We are going to eventually run out, humankind will run out of fossil fuel eventually. It may not make sense right now, but even the things we're talking about are 10 to 20 years down the road. And if we're doing that, what's the price of gas and oil going to be like then? Well, I think it will be, it will totally justify the expenditure of developing a new generation of nuclear power. We need a new generation. We need to deal with the waste from the last generation, and we should not. Again, Mr. Chairman, one of the things I'm really worried about is that we do have a profit-making as part of the equation as to what direction we go. But the people who are thinking about profit-making are not thinking at all about long-term effects on safety 100 years from now. They could care less about that. So it's up to our scientists, our engineers, and yes, elected representatives to take these things into consideration. We appreciate the guidance you've given us.
Well, we've had a request